everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Aceikith Gaming and welcome to the end of year review for 2024. So I haven't recorded a video for a little while and there's a few reasons why. So first off, obviously I have come away from YouTube a little bit. I did make a little announcement, I think in a stream or a video previously, that I was looking to come away from YouTube a little bit because I was finding that the way that the algorithm worked was basically that it wasn't suitable for me when I wanted to be able to play a few different games rather than being made to focus on just one game. That wasn't me. So and I wanted everything to be a little bit more community focused, and I felt like that Twitch does do that a little bit better. You know, it is more focused on the streaming fundamentals, where YouTube is more for like you know, recorded content. You know, it's always been that way. That was the original reason why it became a thing, obviously. So obviously for this type of video, like I've said with this type of video before, because I've done this for a few years now, and basically the focus is exactly the same for this type of video every single year. It's not really for the, like, you know, the subscribers or the followers that I've got on Twitch that are coming over to YouTube to watch this potentially, you know, for my thoughts basically on how this year has gone for me personally. This is more for me, really, for me to be able to reflect. Maybe I'll look back on this very same video going into 2026, say for example, when I look back at this video and go to myself, this is where I was at the beginning of say 2025, which we're literally a couple of days now from me recording this. You're seeing this literally about 2 hours before 2025 begins here in the UK. So by the time that you're seeing this, if you're ahead of the UK in time, you're already in 2025, which, if that is the case, Happy New Year to you all. But some of the world are still seeing the new year in. So you'll receive this video specifically around about 2 hours before the UK are due to go into 2025. The reason why I'm recording this a little bit earlier than normal is because now I am full-time working, which I am going to be going a little bit into during this video. So I've got everything into segments, and if you're wondering why I'm looking over in this direction right here, is because I've got another monitor, and basically this has got all of my notes of basically what I've written down for this specific video. So it's a little bit more streamlined than most of my videos. Most of my videos is normally ad-lib, as some people in that type of industry would call it, but this type of video specifically, I write down a fair amount of notes, and that way everything's a little bit more streamlined, because these type of videos also can be quite long. Like, say for example, my year 2023 review video ended up being an hour and a half. So if it is as long as that, I do apologize, but obviously this is me going through pretty much as everything that I have gone through, not just on a YouTube and Twitch perspective, but also away from streaming. So this is also where you get to know me maybe a bit more as a person, a bit more in the background. I don't go so heavily into, like, you know, what happens in my real life, obviously, but you get to know certain important things that, you know, I do talk about maybe on stream as well. So let's start off. So I'm going to start with YouTube first, because that was the thing that I was mostly focused on for the majority of 2024. So I started off, I believe, a little over 250 subscribers at the start of 2024. And I was going to be maintaining that push to try and get subscribers, and also put on, you know, great content as well during the meantime. So I was still doing YouTube shorts. Obviously that was something that I'd learned quite a lot last year, and also I was trying to do weekly videos as well. So it was basically 3 shorts a week and a stream per week, and also on top of that 1 video per week. Obviously, bear in mind, at the start of the year, I was not working, and a lot was going on in the background as well. My mental health wasn't doing the greatest, but it was manageable, and that is something else I'm going to be going on a little bit later on, because mental health for me was a huge thing for me this year. So where did we end up with YouTube in the end? So obviously YouTube was my main focus, my main goal set for 2024. That kind of stopped during the end of the summer. So I'd already planned that coming out of the summer that I was no longer going to focus on YouTube. I was going to focus a bit more on Twitch, try and get that last little bit of a push, because there was absolutely no focus on Twitch whatsoever for the majority of 2024. And that was because I did streaming, I did YouTube shorts, and on top of that, I did YouTube content creation as well for 2024. So there was absolutely, at that time, no reason to even touch Twitch, really, other than maybe watching some other streamers that I enjoyed watching. Otherwise, I wasn't really on Twitch at all. I was predominantly on YouTube. So from, I believe it was around about a little over 250 subscribers, we ended on YouTube 319 subscribers. By the time that we finished doing everything on YouTube, we had 321 subscribers. So we've lost a couple of subscribers, and that is purposely because we've done nothing pretty much on there. I'm going to be completely honest. So from September up to now, we've uploaded absolutely no content whatsoever. We've not really done anything with our YouTube channel at all. But so the fact that we've only lost 2 subscribers on YouTube, I think I would say actually, like, you know, it shows that the support is there still, you know, and we're still getting regular views we are from different people, even though they might not be subscribing. They're just watching the content. Like, there's some older content that I uploaded like 2-3 years ago that is still reasonably popular. At my at Dead of Night, my YouTube shorts for that, for the spoilers of the character deaths of which is quite important to the story in that. They still get regular views because there are a lot of people that like these type of videos where there are spoilers, there are important highlights to the storyline of the game itself. So the fact that those type of videos are still doing well, it shows that maybe my channel can grow from that type of content, which is something that I'm going to go over as well a little bit later on. So YouTube is doing fine, even though I haven't uploaded any content for a while. That will be due to change, which I'll go into later on. So Twitch, we only started actually focusing on Twitch as we came away from YouTube. So when we came away from YouTube of uploading absolutely no content, we went back onto Twitch with the goal that basically we wanted to do more streaming. We wanted to be a bit more community focused. So we had about, I think, just less than 425 followers going into that part of the year, which had not changed fundamentally. Like, I think maybe we may have gained 1 or 2 followers, but that was just from joining other communities, you know, and being nice to people. And those people that have obviously been very nice to us have always, you know, shouted us out. And we've gained followers from that by not even streaming. It's just from very good friends that have known me for a long time have gone, go and follow him. You know, Chappers, as an example, who has done my YouTube shorts when I first started it, he would always shout me out whenever I come into his stream because we know each other so well. So, you know, massive thanks to obviously those that have helped out during that time when I wasn't even streaming on Twitch, because it does mean a lot. And that followers did start to gain some traction immediately when I started streaming on Twitch again. So as a little thing, obviously we do, you know, we started up sim racing again this year, which has been our main focus. which is still going to be our main focus for next year, amongst other things. So we did set a kind of like a secondary goal, which was 450 followers by the end of this year, thinking that if we do go back to Twitch, which we ended up doing, we at least have a mindset. We at least have an achievable goal to go, let's try and push for that if we come back early enough, which we did. It was maybe a little bit far-fetched at first, but we ended up just focusing on that when we started up Twitch again. So the goal was basically hit for 450 followers if we can, and we was around about, I think, 425 followers at the time when I started up Twitch again, coming away from YouTube altogether. So we started it in September, we did, and like predominantly like during that time we was doing sim racing, but we was also playing League of Legends as well. We was playing a little bit of a Dead by Daylight even as well, which last year, if you remember, I had actually come away from Dead by Daylight for about, I think it's about a 3-4 month period completely, and that was because of the DDoS attack that it had with a lot of its big streamers. And I obviously at that time I didn't want any part of that. I basically put my foot down and said, until you sort that stuff out, I am not streaming on your game whatsoever, because if it's not able to protect its biggest streamers, it shouldn't have a platform that is able to advertise its game on. So that was my attitude towards it. But it has improved massively over the last year and a half with regards to player safety. It has made massive gains. It has. There are still, it still has its massive toxicity, which, to be honest, I don't even think really, to be honest, gaming companies as a whole will ever have complete control over it, because unfortunately, with regards to multiplayer gaming, every single multiplayer game, I think fundamentally is going to have that issue, really, to be honest. And that is just the sake of, well, players are going to be toxic just for the purpose of being toxic, really, to be honest. And there is only so much that one gaming company is going to be able to do. At the end of the day, it is predominantly up to those individuals to look at themselves in the mirror and go, they should not be doing what they're doing. So obviously that's that. But with regards to Twitch, did we hit that goal? Yes, we did. At the moment, we are at 448 followers. We did actually stream it yesterday at the time of recording this, and we did lose a couple of followers. I think that's just where we are playing different games, and some people are seeing that and they don't want to be watching different things, or maybe they're just liking us at the time and then forgetting who we are, because we're not a big streamer whatsoever anyway, and that is completely fine. So, but did we hit that 450 follower goal? Yes, we did. We did actually hit 450 followers, I believe, on Christmas Eve. And so I am going to be saying that is said and done. Yes, I know I've lost a couple of followers since then, but we have managed to hit it. So the part of the goal was basically that I was going to be doing a 12-hour stream. I've still not had a set date as of yet, because with me obviously doing the type of job that I'm doing, I want to be able to do this 12-hour stream not on the same weekend as when I'm doing one of my big endurance races, because that's not quite fair, because I'm going to be doing a 12-hour stream anyway, because I'm going to be broadcasting the entire event, obviously. So that's basically a bit of a misleading thing, because that's going to happen anyway. So my idea is that I am going to be doing this 12-hour stream either towards the end of January, after I've come off my holiday, because I am due to go on holiday in the middle of January. Unfortunately, that does mean that I'm going to be missing the iRacing 24 Hours of Daytona, which I believe I have done for the last 5 years. which I believe also this year it would have been oh no, that would have been, yeah, the 4-year anniversary of me getting my first of 2 third places at the 24 Hours a Daytona. Obviously that year would have been the final year of GTEs, and obviously last year I managed to get 3rd place again with Panda Pink, which, if you can see, I am actually wearing that shirt right now, by the way. You know, like, it's a team that I always admire. You know, like, they have a broad set of drivers which are always expanding. They are. So I still own one of the t-shirts from when I used to drive with them. Obviously I run my own team now. So yeah, so Twitch is obviously going extremely well, and I do want to expand on it. I'm getting my first ever set of emotes done. The main part of designing is already done. It's now just mainly colouring it in, which I am still yet to get back to my emote designer for that. Obviously with Christmas going around, I don't want to be, you know, intruding on them during the Christmas period. So once the new year is done, we're going to catch up and see where we are, and basically go from there. But I am looking to try and add more things to streaming, and that way it's a little bit more interactive, because that's one of the things I think I do. I am not quite so great with all the time, is when I'm solely focused on sim racing, which is quite easy to do because you do need a lot of focus. You do with those type of with sim racing as a whole. Your focus goes onto the game, and then it's basically then the stream goes a little bit quiet. So that is something that I'm going to try and improve on as much as I can for during next year. So yeah, so obviously as well, you know, coming from YouTube and going back onto Twitch again, you know, part of that is also that, you know, September I started working full time now, and you know, it's something that I did wonder about. What did I want to do, basically? And with me, like, with the amount of hours that I do, sometimes it's not always available to be able to just do content creation all the time. You know, like, content creation does take quite a bit of time. Some people will say to you, it's better off to do YouTube over Twitch if you don't have so much time. But then it becomes that sort of thing where basically, if you do want to just relax, you can't do that with YouTube, really, to be honest, because you're fixed on one game because it forces you with its algorithm of how it works. And where with Twitch, you can be a little bit more relaxed. And, you know, for those days that you do want to become a little bit more relaxed, but you still get to chat with people in your chat as well. So Twitch does have that luxury, you know, and if you want to be streaming a different game, it's fine to do that, really. Yeah, again, YouTube doesn't necessarily allow you to do it with its algorithm. It completely breaks itself apart because it goes, you're streaming another game, you shouldn't do that. But you should be allowed to stream or produce content of whatever game you wish, you know, and I've been a firm believer of that. If you want to stream, you know, Fortnite as an example, obviously I don't even play Fortnite. I've never played it in my life and I don't plan to. But let's say, for example, you want to just play Fortnite randomly. On Twitch, you can do that. You know, YouTube will find an issue with that if you've never played it, but you play other games. You know, if you want to play, let's say, Apex Legends or Dead by Daylight, League of Legends, Dota, you know, on Twitch, it's a little bit more freely. It is. And that is kind of why I've gone back over to Twitch for that reason. You know, is Twitch the perfect platform? Absolutely not. You know, and I don't think there ever will be. Some of it is down to, like, you know, the fundamentals of how, you know, certain areas work, you know, of how the system is worked. You know, some of it is just down to the community as a whole of how it looks down on others, you know, but that's not Twitch's problem. That's the community's problem with regards to, you know, let's say, for example, some people talk down on other streamers that are much smaller just because they have a higher amount of viewers. Everybody grows from having just maybe 1 or 2 viewers to, let's say, 75 on average, 100, 200, 1,000, you know. So everybody has to start from somewhere, you know, and that's what I always try and remind everybody. have you started from literally having multi-million followers all of a sudden? No, you did not. You started from this place too, to remember where you came from, basically. So yeah, so iRacing has obviously been my main focus. Obviously, that's what I enjoy the most. I enjoy sim racing quite a lot, but sometimes it can be exhausting, especially when my job is driving. You know, literally, not many people are wanting to go from, like, you know, doing sim racing, then going to work, which is also driving, and then coming back home after doing, let's say, for example, a 4, 5, 6 hour shift of driving, and then doing more sim racing. So I do need other games to be able to, you know, break that apart a little bit. And that is where League of Legends are coming, and that's where Dead by Daylight is coming in. So it does make it a little bit more flexible. It does. So obviously this year's obviously been you know, a bit of a learning curve, I will be honest. You know, like, I'm 32 years old now. I am. So I'm getting a little bit old, as you can probably see. Like, I'm starting to grow a little bit of a beard, by the way, which that is planned. That is something that a load of my colleagues at work have said to me. Why don't you grow one? You actually look good with, you know, a little bit of a beard from down here, which, you know, which is great. You know, so I have thought about it, and I have gone ahead and gone, you know what, let's see if it works. Let's see how I look with one, because I've never grown a beard before. You know, but that's something that, you know, obviously, you know, I am looking forward to that experience. So, but yeah, so I'm going to go away from streaming now, because there is a few things to talk about in the background, and also some things you would have known, some things maybe you wouldn't have known. So let's get the biggest demon out of the way, and let's go all the way back to mid-February. So for those of you that will probably have known me for a while, I do talk about this on YouTube. I've talked about this on Twitch from time to time during my streams. So all the way back in February, for those of you that do not know, so I had done an RPM sim race the previous evening. I did, and I was a little bit tired, I will admit. So I decided straight after that race, I think I had a quick little something to eat, and then I immediately got into bed and I went straight to sleep, which for me at the time is very, very rare. Nowadays, it's a lot easier for me because now I'm working again. So I'm becoming more exhausted more easily, which is fantastic. You know, I'm actually getting more into a much better sleep pattern compared to what I was like this time last year. Like this time last year, I would have no problem staying awake until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning every single day, and then waking up, let's say, 6 hours later because I need to help my mum with stuff. I had no problems with that. Nowadays I can't, because obviously I'm full-time working, which is great. So I remember, so I'm going to go into a little bit more detail than I have ever done with this. So let's get the big ghost out of the room, the anxiety attack that I had. So mid-February, I had just completed my RPM sim race. I had something to eat, got straight back into bed because I was feeling a little bit tired. I woke up approximately about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I woke up. I was feeling okay, I think, for the first 15 minutes. And I have no idea, really, I'm going to be completely honest now, what set it off. But I had the worst type of feeling that I would not even want anybody to even really be feeling what I was feeling at that moment. I have no idea what even set it off, even to this day. I think it was a matter of everything was dawning onto me that I'm just doing the same thing again and again and again and again, and nothing seemed to be going anywhere. And basically, in the end, I just went into, like, it started off like as just a normal panic attack, and like my mum was like, just go and relax, you know, you'll be fine, just go and relax, just go and drink something to calm yourself down. Normally that would work, but this time around it did not. So basically, it just kept on escalating worse and worse and worse. Over the course of a few hours, what turned into just something a little bit minor, which is normal for me from time to time, ended up being to something even worse than I could possibly imagine. And I had to go and see my doctor about it literally days later. So basically, I have no idea where this exactly came from, but I believe that it was just a matter of that. I guess everything was just dawning onto me that something needed to change, basically, and I didn't know where to start. Like my dad's obviously, recently lost his dad last year. And I was like, okay, I know he's just lost his dad. How much more longer am I going to get with my dad? And also my mum's obviously been very unwell this year. She has as well, physically. So like all of this was just dawning onto me a little bit as well. And there was a lot of things going on. There was, to the degree that, I didn't know what to do, because it was like, for those of you that have known me personally for a long time, and there's very few people that are going to be watching this right now that will know, me to this personal degree. But my mum helps me quite a lot, because of my autism and Asperger's. There's a lot of things that sometimes I may not necessarily understand, unless talked through it a little bit more when I don't understand it, if it's something that I'm not used to. And I was going like, well, I need to be able to focus on doing more things for myself, but I was struggling quite a lot. I was. So it was like basically, mama, like I just didn't know where to go at that point, basically. So, and one of my great friends, W Step, obviously, we've known each other for a long, long time. Even during my opening days of sim racing, like I've known him basically, like I knew him about 6 months going into it. And W Step has been a massive help, who runs Quest Motorsport as a team with me, obviously. And W Step during the first, I'd say especially 6 months, has been the backbone, as well as my mum and dad, to me recovering mentally. Of like, he's, he goes through a lot of struggles himself, which he has, especially in the closing end of 2024. I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind me saying, but he's always supported me so highly. He has, even during times where we wouldn't really necessarily always talk, but we do talk to each other in the background quite a lot. We do. And it's something that, I've grown to appreciate, because I know he is a fair bit older than me. And, the struggles that he's gone through in life, is something that I would never even want to even think about. So for the fact of like, he's had all these experiences and he's trying to help me out because he knows what those struggles are like. It's, it's a big thing to be able to have, so like there are some people that do, I'm very, very lucky to have W Step as a friend, obviously. There isn't many people that would, devote so much of their time just to help out one person out, but that is just the way that my friend W Step is. It is something that he does do quite a lot in the background. He always messages me, even late at night. Maybe he might be seeing that I'm still playing a game, and he's going like, you're up late. How are things? Even if he's busy, even if it's just to check up on me, because he knows that I have been struggling quite a lot this year, and hopefully going into 2025, I can look behind that and basically go to myself, I've improved so much in the past year to 2 years, and this is where I am now. And that is going to be one of those little things that I am hopefully going to be looking at this time next year, is going, I struggled so much the previous year, and this year I'd already made some gains, but I've made even bigger gains. So yeah, so obviously the first 3 months especially was a big struggle. During that exact same time, as I said, obviously Dubstep is also running Quest Motorsport with me, although a little bit more in the background. I am predominantly, like, mostly running the team, and I run through things through with him so he's up to date. And I do that a little bit better nowadays, because we do have discussions sometimes, and he's like, who's this person? And I go to him, and then I realise to myself sometimes, I've accepted somebody into the team, and I haven't exactly told Dubstep. And this is something that I've started to improve a little bit on. So this year was also bringing back on Quest Motorsport. So Quest Motorsport was originally a team that I'd started up with the goal that I wanted to have a similar mindset to what Dubstep had with his old sim racing team. And that was basically bring in drivers that basically wanted to learn, maybe didn't have a team that they were going to originally, and basically hone their skills to become better all-round drivers, basically, that had the knowledge that a lot of drivers necessarily won't be able to have. And that is understanding a lot of fundamentals with sim racing, alongside with, a lot of niches as well. So bringing back Quest Motorsport was something that was originally supposed to be happening around about the time when my big anxiety attack happened. So what was supposed to be starting it back up again with a couple of friends, and then we was going to expand the team a bit more in mid-February. So the anxiety attack happened on the Thursday morning. The Saturday, going into the Sunday early hours of the morning, at the end of that race, because we would have had Quest Motorsport in the name, which people would have asked, what is this team? Which I would have said at that time, I will announce it at the end because that is important. But this ended up never happening because I decided that I wasn't going to do the 12 hours of Bathurst, because obviously I had this anxiety attack. So we obviously had that, but the fundamentals was still going to be the same. Was going to be bringing in drivers that maybe didn't have a team, or was lacking in confidence, or didn't have the necessary skills at the time that we could help grow. And we have now got pretty much a full roster of drivers. We have got 8 drivers in total, including myself, that regularly drive. Like, we have got a few drivers that is temporarily taking some time out for different reasons. One of them only announced to me yesterday that they are recovering from a broken leg, as an example, and the other one is recovering from mental health reasons as well, which obviously I had been during the course of this year. So but obviously the space is still there. I'm still messaging everybody and seeing where they are at the moment, seeing what they're wanting to do, because obviously we want to be able to open up spots for new incoming drivers if we can. But obviously with me full-time working, I'm probably going to lower down that number, but see who is available more, because I'd like to try and have more drivers available if I can. So Quest Motorsport as a whole basically was made, purely for that reason. It wasn't made to win races. It wasn't where to win championships. It's fundamentally there just to help out drivers and become better over time, while making the lessons very simple, basically, and help out as and when we can. So we have got, because obviously we've got Quest Motorsport going now, like obviously like it's been going on now for about 9 months, I believe now, because we did eventually actually bring Quest Motorsport in properly as a team. We did, I think it was beginning of March, so start of season 2 2024 of iRacing. So the team name was there, but we couldn't race just yet because we only had a few of us, and for the first special event, only I was available. So I had to join another team, with the hope that very soon after that, we're going to just get the train rolling and try and see if we can try and get drivers in. So not everything was playing smoothly. I will be honest. Like, you know, if everything was playing smoothly, we would all be laughing, you know, but that wasn't the case. So we have had a couple of drivers come in. We have over 2024, which we have since let go for different reasons. One of them was because of you know, there was some things going on in the background which I wasn't exactly liking it. I didn't like the vibe from it, so I decided to let them go, you know, before it got any worse. Another one was just basically that they just didn't seem interested. You know, I'll be completely upfront and honest. So, you know, I don't want them holding a spot when they're not even doing any team races of any regard, you know, or even like, you know, being active, as I say, you know. So yeah. So obviously, Quest Motorsport has had some, you know, this going on, but they have had a lot of success as well. So I've had some success as well. So across 2024. We had actually won the RPM GT3 Championship in the silver class. We did while I was recovering from the big anxiety attack. So the last race of the season, as well as that, for the very final race, I actually had to use my dad's PC. I did, because during that exact same time, my PC went down. So obviously I had to go and use my dad's PC. I had to ask him for my permission, by the way, which, you know, I'm so thankful that he allowed me to be able to do it, because I was that close to winning the final round of the championship. From the final round of the championship, it was a two-person battle between me and Marvin Cruz, and he was faster than me, you know, in the second half of the season especially, and he qualified a bit further ahead than me. He did during that race, I remember. And I knew that as long as I didn't do anything stupid, I could still win the championship, but he couldn't get any further up the order. Thankfully for me, about 10 minutes in, he crashed out. He did. I think somebody else went off ahead of him, and he was just, unfortunately, in the wrong place at the wrong time. From that point on, I was as relaxed as you can possibly be, basically, at that point. Like, I could not be any more relaxed during that last hour and 15 minutes roughly, because like the first 5 minutes you was coming to terms with was basically, I win the championship now no matter what happens, because he's actually retired. He can't get back onto track for a while because he's having to repair a very broken car. I can fully relax. So the first 5 minutes was just realizing I've won the title now no matter what happens. The final hour and 15 minutes of that race was just basically me and W-Step with my community all having a laugh and making it as relaxed as physically possible, knowing that I'd literally had a massive anxiety attack literally 1 week ago. So coming from that really big low to that massive high was a massive achievement in itself. Obviously, you know, just winning in a computer game, because at the end of the day, it is still a game after all. You know, that might seem so small, but for me, you know, feeling wise, that was a massive upset. That was. So, and that was not fundamentally the goal at the start of that season. But obviously I knew from that point on, that was going to be meaning that the task was going to be even bigger. Because by winning the silver class championship, it meant I'll put into the premium gold tier. So that basically meant now that I was going to be having to race against some of the best drivers in the league. I was obviously doing that to a degree, but I was doing that with a car that I wasn't always comfortable in. So that is when I decided that during the off season that I was going to be doing a lot of practicing and just getting used to a new car that I'd not driven. And that is when W-Step said to me, why don't you just try the Porsche out? Just give it a go. You have nothing to lose. You're in a brand new tier that basically, you know, we know that you are competitive. You can be competitive in. You just need the right car. That little bit of coaching, you know, of telling me what to do was something that I needed, because I didn't think I'll be so good in the Porsche. But by me like understanding what the car did, and this was my first proper like try hard season, this was as well, that I would think to myself, right, I'm actually going to try harder and harder. But my main focus was the league itself. It was. So at the start of that season, there was only a few drivers, I would say, that were faster than me, but I was very close to them because I was driving a car that fundamentally I was a lot more suited to that I did not realize. During this time, obviously, my PC was still down. Obviously, this PC that was still down, I would never have back. You know, even to this day, I've still not had it back, really, to be honest, because basically, I think it was just basically just damaged beyond repair, basically. So I still don't know to this day what's what's happened to it fundamentally. Like, even they can't actually fathom out what's happened to it. So, I have I've basically like given up on it, and that is why now I have a brand new PC which is so much better in performance in every single type of regard. Basically, it's so much better. It is. So, but during this particular season where I was using my dad's PC a lot, I was mainly using it for like league racing, and that was about it, and maybe the special events, because predominantly, obviously, bearing in mind, this is my dad's PC that I'm using, so, and he should be having first rights to it because it's his PC. So I did not expect that particular season though to go the way that it did. So we had got a few more drivers during the course of the early part of the season, so we had been growing the team. During that season, we had me as overall champion during that particular season, and we was trying to grow drivers overall. And so, like, obviously the overall champion, obviously, without even winning a race, by the way, this was just down to consistency. During the entirety of the season, I think there was only 2 races where I didn't finish top 10, and they were both because I had an incident during the race. The first one of the 2 was I unfortunately got round in the rear after I lapped somebody, and they just aquaplaned. There was nothing they could have done, so you can't blame somebody for aquaplaning on the track, in severely wet conditions, which wet tracks on iRacing was still brand new at the time. Like, they were only a few weeks old. And the other one was also another wet race. This was just me making a rare mistake all on my own. This was. And this was also during a time where I was still worrying about Discord because I had an issue with Discord at the time. I was as well. So I didn't have my usual W-step in my ear telling me what's going on. He couldn't tell me what was going on because at that time, and I did not realise, I was not actually in Discord. I, for some reason, got taken out of Discord for reasons unknown. I still don't know what happened. So, it was something that I was very confused about. So during that race specifically, it was basically mental stability, and showed that W-step was fundamentally during that season as well. It was a big part to why I was winning, was why I was doing as well as I did, because I had that, motivator in my ear, keeping me going all the time, and W-step is probably fundamentally a big part to why that particular season was such a great season for me. To the point that we came to the Indy 500 at the end of that season, and we knew we had a decent chance, but it was basically playing the long game. And that's exactly what we did. We also managed to win the Indy 500 for the very first time. W-step actually won the race as well on the Friday, where I won mine on the Sunday. So we both each won an Indy 500 each, representing Quest Motorsport. His one was basically done on the very first time slot. I did mine on the very last time slot. So that was quite a big thing, that was, because we didn't expect to win any of them, really. To be honest, we don't have that mindset of we have to win these races. We don't. We're mainly going out there to have fun. We're going to try and win it if we can, but we're never having that mindset of we've got to win. And that has always been the mindset, and that's what we still have this mindset of even today. You know, like yesterday from me recording this, Quest Motorsport managed to win the first ever team event with the Conspit Endurance Tour. The first round at Motegi. We managed to win the 6 hours of Motegi literally yesterday with myself and Nigel Stock. Speaking of Nigel, obviously that is one of our 2 bronze class RPM championship victories, and the other one being David Daniil. And also we managed to get an additional silver class championship on the same season where we won with Nigel Stock in bronze. We also won with Paul Davey in the silver class, of which at the end of that season he would announce that he will be departing from us as a team and making a move to Raccoon Sim Sports. Which obviously, you know, they have their own individual goals. You know, Paul Davey didn't necessarily need as much help, but he wanted to be with a team that, you know, he was driving with other drivers. So, and he had obviously made some good friends with the Raccoon team, you know, and we obviously allowed him to go. We're not going to hold him back. You know, our team as a whole, we're not really going to be holding drivers that don't want to be racing with us. They'd rather race with another team. You know, we want to be able to carry on the aspect of, we want to be able to help drivers that require the help. And that is basically what we did. So let's move on from the iRacing aspect of things, because obviously there's a couple more things that I need to go through in the background as well. So the biggest thing, obviously to me this year, I would say, as a whole, is starting a new full-time job. So for those of you that are wondering what have I started doing now, so basically I am now a Pizza Hut delivery driver, which we have actually over the past few months had some laughs about it on stream. So one of the big streams that I've had across this year was taking part in the Basic 24, which is something that Basic Ollie started up last year for the first time. We were thinking about doing it, but we didn't really know what we were going to do at the time, so we ended up not even actually taking part in it, unfortunately. But we took part in it this year. We did. And graciously, like my employer allowed me to do the charity event because I had already planned it before I even started working. So they allowed us to be able to do it because it's a charity event, basically. And one of the laughs that we had during said stream was that, you know, I'm delivering, you know, with me delivering pizzas, and the biggest laugh across the stream was basically me having to sing the fast food song during the race. And so obviously I had to pull into the pits and make sure that, you know, I was singing the lyrics kind of correctly, you know. And look, my singing is appalling. So, but it is available as a clip. I think it's available as a clip on my Twitch channel. I might be wrong. I still might need to try and see if I can try and get it, but maybe I haven't. Maybe I should have put it as a YouTube short to begin with, but that is something that I'm going to be discussing about a bit later on. So obviously I'm streaming around me full-time working, so I've started streaming a little bit earlier in the day, which has helped quite a lot, obviously, because it means that I'm waking up a bit earlier in the day compared to what I've done before. Like right now it's almost 11 o'clock in the morning, which at the start of this year that would be unheard of. You know, the only time that I would wake up as early as this typically is my mum waking me up because she needs help with a few things, which I'm always happy to try and help her, because her moving around is getting harder and harder for her physically. And but then obviously for the next, I'd say maybe hour to 2 hours potentially, I'll be just sitting in the bed just behind me, you know. And that was how bad I was mentally, that I would be so lazy. That is not me anymore, which I'm glad to say that that is a thing of the past. There are occasional days where I will actually just sit in bed and just lay down in there for a little while, but typically I won't always do that. You know, like I will only really do those type of things nowadays if I am actually just that tired. Excuse me. So yeah, So yeah, so obviously the full-time job as a whole, like obviously I'm not just doing delivery, although my job title is a delivery driver. I'm not just doing deliveries. I'm also helping out in the store, making up more boxes as and when we need them. I'm also doing other things like inside of the store, whether it is making up more dough for when we need it for the next day, or making up more sauce for the pizzas itself. You know, so I am fundamentally not just a driver. I am doing other things on top of that. Like, I'm even going to the point that I'm actually cutting up pizzas as well. The only thing that I don't do is actually make the pizzas, because there are purpose people that actually do that, you know, for themselves. Basically, they are specific people that are doing that, you know, along with managers that obviously do a bit of everything. So obviously this year has been a massive turnaround. It has, with regards to that. Like, obviously I am going to be looking for a new job again in the early part of next year, because this job, while it is a great job, like, I feel so much better mentally. It's not something that I'm going to be looking to do you know, in the long term, because while the pay is good, the only downside to it is that I do have to work certain nights. Well, I have to work all evening shifts typically, and they can go on as late as 10 o'clock, which ideally I don't want to be having to do all the time, because sometimes then, like, you know, I'm coming in quite a little bit on the late side. And with one of my previous jobs that I used to do, sometimes trying to grab something to eat late on in the day, it does make it a little bit more difficult for that reason. But streaming isn't the only thing that I do in the background, and amongst obviously full-time working and running my team. Something that I have looked to do for a long time, and I do enjoy it, but I've never really had a proper chance at it, is doing writing. So I've never been the biggest sort of person to, like, you know, read a book for a long duration of time, but something that I've always enjoyed is the creativity with regards to, like, writing, you know, like. But something that I've always enjoyed quite a lot as well is going into that fantasy world of an apocalypse, and I don't really see any of that being done really in books or novels, and that is something that I have looked into doing a little bit as well. And I've only literally just started writing out the first chapter literally a few days ago. But I have been gradually planning out over the course of the past several months. So it is something that I'm doing, like, you know, at a slow speed, where gradually I'm doing more and more, putting more and more work into it. You know, but it's something that I enjoy fundamentally, and it's something that I want to try and keep it that way. So obviously I'm doing that around other things, because obviously it's something that, you know, I'm not going to earn any money from until it is completed, and that, well, I am going to be a way away from that. So, you know, when I do earn, you know, like, money from it, if I do, you know, that is when I will probably focus on that a little bit more, because then I see that, you know, it is worth it for me. So let's focus on that a little bit more. So yeah, so like, a lot of things away from streaming, there's so much been going on that has, and 2024 as a whole has been a very, very hectic, and possibly I would even say exhausting year for multiple reasons, but there's been a lot of good things that's come from it as well. And, you know, it has been hard, you know, like, we've reached 450 followers on Twitch. We reached 300 subscribers on YouTube. We did as well. Excuse me. But obviously there are still to be goals, and some of it is going to be more short term. Some of it is going to be a bit more long term. So we've obviously got the 12-hour stream that I'm going to be doing late January, if not February, that I'm going to be doing that. So let's talk goals for 2025, because I'm almost an hour in. And if you are still around watching this video, then obviously thank you ever so much. And if you haven't liked the video yet, obviously go and click that thumbs up down below. You know, it does, it is very much appreciated if you could, because it does help me out a lot as well. Especially when I haven't done any recordings for a little while. You know, and it shows that the support is there as well. But with regards to goals for 2025, so I think the big one, let's get it out of the way. So let's go with the Twitch goal first of all. So I am setting up a short-term goal with Twitch followers, is that I am going to be setting it at 500. So that is the big 500. When that is completed, I will be planning to do my first ever 24-hour stream. So that will be something that I will be planning on doing. There's a set timer that will be literally doing from start to finish 24 hours with some small breaks in between. Obviously, like, you know, 5 minutes at a time, you know, like there'll be a couple of longer breaks during the period, you know, where we just chill for a little bit and just chat, you know. But I do plan on doing a 24-hour stream when we do hit 500 followers. Especially if we hit it during by the end of the summer, because that's when I think I can try and hit it, is during the summer. So yeah, so that's the big thing regards to Twitch. Also, I want to be starting up a brand new single player playthrough. So obviously this year we didn't do one because we was doing everything on YouTube and we wasn't really streaming all that much. Excuse me. But obviously the Walking Dead the Telltale series was very good as a whole, especially during the first couple of seasons, which I know is a lot more popular than the other 2 seasons. Obviously the talk of a season 5, I don't think it's going to happen now, because obviously that's not been talked about now for a long time. So I think that is now out of the window, sadly. But if that does still come about, that plan is that I'm still going to be doing season 5. As soon as it comes out, I'm doing it. So, but I don't see it happening anytime soon, unfortunately, because I would love for it to happen if it can. But I am thinking about starting up a brand new single player playthrough of a story game. I haven't decided what it is yet. I have something in mind, but I won't announce it because I don't want to announce that I'm going to be doing something when I haven't ultimately decided on it yet. So, but also on top of that, there is a couple of new games that I do want to be trying out on stream as well. So obviously, Dead by Daylight as a whole, I've noticed my viewership isn't that high, but that's because I don't really play it, you know, to a high level. I don't play it to a point where, you know, I have a lot of my viewers that watch me play it like I used to. Because I've come away from that game fundamentally, and that's probably where I am losing a lot of my followers, because a lot of my followers would have normally have watched me play that a long time ago, and they're seeing me streaming again, maybe on the whim, and going, I'm not going to follow you anymore because you're not playing the game that I would watch, you know, which is fair enough. You know, that's up to them. I can't force them to follow me if, you know, that is what they prefer. So so I've been thinking about playing a different couple of games on stream. Again, I haven't fully decided on what I'm going to do yet, so I won't announce it right now. But I do want to try out a different couple of other games on top of, like, you know, doing sim racing and playing League of Legends again. Like, League of Legends as a game as a whole looks like it's going to be coming a lot better for next year. So be on the lookout for that. I will potentially be playing that a little bit more next year as well. YouTube. So what are the goals for YouTube? There isn't going to be too much going on with regards to YouTube. Fundamentally, I do want to start using YouTube again, as well as potentially TikTok as well. So TikTok, I have had some content on there. I used to use Hover quite a bit. I did when that was a thing, but that hasn't been a thing for a long time, unfortunately. Like, even to the degree that my banner that I have on my YouTube channel and also my Twitch channel, it still has the Hover logo on it, I believe. And that is how long it's been since all of this has been in fruition with, you know, with regards to my rebranding that I did a few years ago. And basically now, obviously, Hover is no longer around, so I'm going to be trying to upload on TikTok. I'm going to be uploading on YouTube and uploading shorts again for this year. So I'm going to be trying to start that up, even if it is just one YouTube short or one TikTok a week. You know, I want to try and get into a slight pattern where I can at least upload something, you know, that will just at least keep me active and keep me in a pattern, you know, because I still enjoy editing as well, you know, and I'd like to be able to start doing that again. You know, with YouTube, with streaming, you can't necessarily edit unless you edit things into shorter content to be able to put it out onto other platforms. So that's kind of the plan that I have, really. So, but obviously, fundamentally, those are Twitch goals and YouTube goals. For me, really, I need to be setting myself some personal goals. I do, which is something I'm going to go into now. So, like I said, I want to move into a better job where I do also have my weekends free. So that is ideally what I want to be able to do. So I want to be able to have that that kind of like pressure being put onto somebody that if they want me, you know, and they do have the business open winning weekends, I do not want to be working weekends anymore. The business that I want to move into is a business where I can work weekdays and not work weekends, basically. So that is going to be my kind of like, you know, my foot in the door as such. I don't have to move away from my job and move to another job where I'm still working weekends, basically. I would rather stay where I am at the moment, when at the moment I can actually work on the Saturdays because that's a busy day of the week, and also the Fridays, but not work on the Sundays so much. So that is something that I am looking to actually do. Excuse me. So that is the first thing that I want to be able to do, is get into a better job where I have weekend free. That is basically one of my main personal goals. The second one, my mental health. So obviously this year has been, at the start of the year, really bad because of the massive anxiety that has happened. And some of it is just where I'm just not disciplined with myself. So that is going to be something that I'm going to be trying to do to improve the mental health further. And what do I mean by being more disciplined with myself? As you can tell, like, I have lost a little bit of weight because of me working. Because I am walking around everywhere and running around a little bit and, you know, trying to do jobs as fast as possible while I'm working. But that's not going to be doing everything, really. So, gym. I'm going to be starting to try and do that again. Maybe even to the degree that if I can, maybe even try and do vlogs about it potentially. You know, where I can actually, you know, like, I'm going to be probably waking up New Year's Day showing what I look like at the start of the year. You know, and let me know, guys, if you would be interested in something like that, because it's something that maybe, you know, I thought I could actually gain traction from. Was somebody that has autism and Asperger's, very severe anxiety, going to a gym, which that in itself is quite daunting. But to somebody that maybe has typical Asperger's and autism, like myself, that was going to be even more daunting. And showing that it is possible, but doing it in a way that, you know, basically, you know, showing that it can be done. But obviously, you know, there is that scare factor. Excuse me. So that is something that I want to be able to do, but obviously it's a lot more than that. Obviously mental health is quite a big thing. Obviously, you know, nowadays it's probably one of the biggest things talked about, really, within social media, especially nowadays, because it's so much more apparent. This time 10 years ago, you wouldn't even really hear about mental health being talked about, really, necessarily. You know, if anything, it would be talked as, you know, oh, you're weak. Nowadays, everybody talks about it, which, you know, it shows that it's a great thing to be aware about, basically. So, you know, and that is something that I am going to be, like, you know, trying to improve further. And some of it is going to be more discipline in myself, basically, and trying to make that better, you know, so that way, you know, at the end of next year, I can look at myself and go, I am so much better as a person. So that is one of my goals. As well as that, be a bit more physically active as well. So something that I've talked to my mum about recently is that I want to be able to get into airsoft again. So it's something that I did off stream, and away from sim racing, as something like, as a bit of an exercise. I probably did it at the worst timing possible, actually. Like, I did it, obviously some of it I was unaware of as well. So I did it in the winter, just before Christmas, and then thinking, right, I'm not going to do it during the winter. I'm going to wait for the weather to warm up. Oh, what just happened? The pandemic. So I've not done airsoft at all since the very end of 2019. Excuse me. Oh, it does show I haven't drunken anything during this. But yeah, so that is something that I do want to try and do. I still have all the equipment I do and everything, but it's a matter of if it all fits me again. So that is something that I am going to have to try on, see if it still fits me. If it doesn't, I need to try and get appropriate attire for it. If it does, brilliant. But it's also making sure that everything works. So I haven't used it for a long time, So, and also making sure that the places that I've gone to before, are they still running? And if so, how much are they? Because I would presume they're more expensive now compared to what it was before, because obviously of the pandemic, obviously they need more help than others now. So, so I want to be able to do that. Next thing, I was hoping I would be able to do it this year, but it never happened because obviously I did not start full-time working until September. So it was a bit unfortunate that I could not upgrade my wheel and pedals, but I am in a much better financial position now compared to what I was last year. So I'm obviously needing to do a little bit of research into it, but one of the other things that I do want to do is buy a better wheel and pedals for sim racing. So the wheel and pedals that I've got at the moment, it was originally my dad's, of which he basically sold to me at a discounted price because he had bought his own direct drive and load cell pedals. So I plan on buying my own stuff. I do next year. Excuse me. So I do plan to obviously change what I've got right now over to obviously having a direct drive wheel and also load cell pedals. Now, what I am actually what I'm planning on getting, I do not know yet. I still need to do some research in it. Plus, also, I do want to have a little bit more of a budget. I do, so and that is something else that I need to also research into as well. But on top of that, more than anything else, I think long-term goals are good, but you don't want to set too many because they are typically a lot more long-winded. And so while I don't have them fundamentally right now, because I haven't really thought of any off the top of my head, but something that I do want to be able to do as well is set more short-term goals. So like obviously moving to a better job, can become a short-term goal depending on how much focus I put into obviously trying to find a better job. Improving mental health further, that's a little bit more long-term goal because that's not going to be fixed in a day. Buying a better wheel and pedals, that can become short-term, but it honestly depends. Being more physically active, that is definitely more long-term. That's not going to be done in a day, really, to be honest. That is definitely a lot more long-term. So I do have long-term goals and I have short-term goals. Obviously the Twitch and YouTube stuff as well. The YouTube is more short-term goals. The Twitch goals is a bit more long-term, I would say. So, but I do have, a range of different short-term and long-term goals, which I'm happy about. But I want to try and focus a bit more on the short-term goals because obviously they are ones that, will motivate me more, especially if, like, let's say, for example, I want to do more writing, as an example, which I've done away from streaming this year. It's something that I could potentially look to do more of, but obviously I do that with revolving that around obviously my streaming and also me working as well. But 2024 as a whole, you know, it doesn't go without saying it has been a difficult year, you know, but, you know, would I change it fundamentally? Other than the massive anxiety attack, I would have loved to have not have had it, obviously. But other than that, would I have changed anything else for the world? No. Other than the big anxiety attack that I had, which I would not wish on my worst enemy, I would not change anything else, you know, for what has happened throughout this year. So there's some big people to thank, obviously, you know, from WStep, obviously my family as well, especially my mum and dad supported me so much. And also my brother as well, like he was supported me, you know, a great amount this year. Like obviously he's no longer home. Obviously he has his own 2 kids. You know, he has a girlfriend as well, and he's had a bit of a turmoil year himself as well. You know, and you know, his mental health hasn't always been the greatest. But you know, I think part of me to why I remain strong to a degree is because I see how hard he works, you know, and he feels like that I can definitely do a lot more. And that is something that we have worked on. Like during the first few months after the big anxiety attack, you know, he was there for me quite a lot. He was as well, which is something that my brother, you know, like for a number of years, like, you know, growing up, is something that he didn't really do much because he just did his own thing. But he's a lot more supportive nowadays because he understands that I have gone through a huge amount as well as he has this year. And, you know, like, hopefully that will be good signs to come forward, and we'll be even more supportive of each other, I would expect, throughout this year. But I want to obviously thank you all so much, obviously, for all the support. It does mean, you know, like, I know I'm going on like a broken record, but, you know, I really do, you know, like, it really does mean a huge amount of support you have given me throughout this year. Like, this year has been probably one of the most difficult years that I've ever had to face. And as a whole, you know, I do feel like I've actually come out stronger, and that's why I've made some of the goals that I have made, you know, whether it is on Twitch, whether it is on YouTube, or whether it's even personal goals. I feel that they're all achievable, and that is why I'm going to be going out swinging. Basically, I am going to be trying to attempt to break all of these goals, swing them out of the park, and potentially making even bigger goals for this time next year. But thank you ever so much for all of your amazing support. You know, if you are enjoying this content as well, like, obviously this is more for me, you know, than anything else for me to maybe look back at next year. If you have enjoyed this long extended year review of 2024 video, please do give it a like on the video down below, and also subscribe for more. I will be doing some more YouTube content down the line for during next year with YouTube Shorts. And yeah, I hope you've all had a wonderful new year if you've already seen it in. If you are still yet to see it in, then I hope you have a wonderful New Year's Eve and have a good start to the new year. Thank you ever so much for watching. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.